Good morning. Right, back out on the paddle again. Today I'm on the Great Stour, or the River Stour, and I've put in at Grove Ferry. I'm probably paddling down as far as the Tidal Lakes today. This is my first time on this river, and it's an absolute scorcher. So we'll see how we go. I've got a sprained left wrist, so that's bandaged up, and that may actually mean that I may have to turn around earlier, but we'll see how we go. Well, I'm a bit late out on the water today. I normally get out really early, but this is a tidal river, so what I've had to do is try and work with the tides. So what I did, I looked up the tides for Sandwich, and it was high tide at 8 AM or 8:06, and what I've done, I've put in at Grove Ferry at 10 AM. High tide at Grove Ferry is about 11:30, so I should get a bit of current going down or going up, and hopefully when I turn I'll get it coming back. There is a lot of weed, awful lot of weed in this river. A bit more over to the centre. I don't know if you can see them in shot. There's a couple of absolutely beautiful swans in the shade to the left. I can't go much further in because of the thickness of the weed. Yeah, I'll show you them. Beautiful. Weather forecast today is actually for a scorcher. We'll say a scorcher. They're talking about up to 28 degrees. So what I've done with the drop stitch kayak, I've inflated to 8.5 psi. I'm carrying a pump anyway, so obviously if I need to let a bit out, if I get to stop or I need to put some in, all well and good. But just to err on the safety side, its running pressure is 10 psi. But it's as solid as a rock at 8.5 anyway, so I'm not worried, and it's actually easier to handle. River's widened out now, nice and peaceful. And as I said earlier, we're paddling upstream towards Fordwich with the tide, although it's not actually noticeable at the moment. Yes, I have another obligatory silly hat. This one's an even wider brim than the others, but a bit more suited to the weather as it is today. Well, I must admit I would not like to try and get out if I was in the water here. You can just see the height of the bank on the left. It's not too clever on the right, and it's just really thick with reeds. left and right. So I'm trying to sort of stick to the middle at the moment. And not pick up huge clunks of weed that are just floating on the surface with my paddle and flick them into the back of the kayak. Well, I'm very well sprayed with sunscreen today. I think I'm going to need it, and I've got my bug spray on as well, or my skin's so soft, which is the one I use. Fingers crossed I'm not going to get eaten alive. It's really nice to be out on a different river, because so far this year it's just all been about the Medway, and I've been meaning to get out on this one for about 3 or 4 weeks. We've had some bad weather again, some horrendous weather, and obviously trying to catch the tides, because I do like to get out as early as I possibly can. And I'm certainly not into catching a 3 PM tide. Let's get out of this weed. This kayak's going to need a good jet wash after this paddle. It's nice for me to get out during the week again finally, because the last couple of paddles have been at the weekend on a Saturday. Be it they were on the Medway and I put in very early, there was a fair bit of river traffic on the way back on both occasions, which wasn't so pleasant. It just meant, you know, you're just trying to get back to where you started. But, during the week there's always a lot less people, even though it is the school summer holidays at the moment. I can't say I've noticed any tide at all. This is like a mill pond at the moment, but maybe later on. Either way, I'll notice it. But there's very little wind, and it's it's flat. I do love the peace and quiet. Just a light aircraft in the distance. Me and the river. I must admit, this river's nothing like I envisaged it. I watched some videos on YouTube. Sometimes they're a spoiler, to be honest, because it's better just to get out on the river and see it with your own eyes. But I watched a gentleman's videos. They're quite old now, I think from about 2014. I think it's Peter Bruce, Old Man in a Kayak, it was called. And I watched his quite a lengthy video just to sort of get the gist of the river. And mentioning about the amount of reefs. I think he went in about, actually probably around about the same time, maybe a month later, maybe August. But I don't recognise it as the same stretch of river, in all fairness, other than the reefs, which I'm veering into. Let's get back in the middle of this river. The problem with talking on camera, you don't tend to concentrate on where you're going. Struggled a little bit putting the kayak in this morning. As I said, I've got a not a badly sprained wrist, but I've got a sprained wrist on the left hand, and I've also caused a few problems with my right. I think I was overcompensating. So I've put wrist straps on to lift the kayak because I've had to lift it from the car. And it's not so much the weight, it's 20 kilogram inflated, obviously. It's not so much the weight, it's the size of it. I'm paddling a 15.5-foot kayak on my own. And there's a sloping gantry at Grove Ferry. And I really felt like when I had the kayak on my head, because it's the only way I could get it down the gantry, because of the width. I felt like I was going to run straight into the water, but I mean, I got away with it. And like I said, that's with an injured wrist, which is strapped up. But I'm not looking forward to taking it out again and carrying it up the gantry. There you go. It's all part and parcel. A couple of beautiful swans on the right. A couple of kayakers. Such beautiful animals, those swans. Graceful.
Hi guys.
Lunch break already? You're dry as well.
Yeah, we are.
Shall I come over?
Yeah.
There's a young lady, I think it was the first time out on her SUP, on a stand-up paddleboard. And when she put in at the canoe platform, it was this really, really nervous grin. But, looks like she's enjoying it. She's dry, sitting on it eating. She does kayak, so she told us, so she was just a little bit nervous about the balance on the board. Yeah, she's done it. Morning. You alright?
Morning.
Hiya. Beautiful, isn't it? I must admit, on a day like today, there is absolutely no rush. Just paddling along a little bit and then just stopping and taking in the scenery. Well, my wrist is holding up. I can feel there's a slight twinge. I will have to see, to be honest, how far I can go, because obviously I've got to paddle back as well. I don't want to overdo it, because I'm up in Scotland in about 3 weeks' time, and I really do want to get out on some lochs up there, which may not be as easy as paddling this. What I'm going to try and do now is just ground myself for a minute so I can change this battery. I'll go over by this tree. Yeah, do mate. Do. Well, I've just stopped for that wee break. Like I said, sorted out a battery bank, so no more distractions now, and I better crack on, push off and crack on upstream. Aha, right, we're at the Tidal Lakes. No entry, and they've even put some booms up now, whereas the video I watched, you could have literally gone in, but now they've basically fenced it off. The reason it's called tidal is straight ahead is the river. When the tide, for some reason, certainly when the tide is going downstream, it prefers to take the shortest route, which is into the lake and round back out here. There you go, Tidal Lake.